Alright, we all know that Xbox has been completely dominating the gaming industry when it comes to news, games, features, and of course, acquisitions. Yet has that translated to the sales of the Xbox Series X and S consoles? Well, for the first time since the next generation console launched, they finally outsold the PlayStation 5 in surprising territories. Let's get into what is happening and how the Xbox Series X has outsold the PlayStation 5 and how the domination that Xbox has been going through continues through this next generation. Hey, what's up everyone? Thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to be notified on future content, hit that small little bell icon. And if you want to go that extra mile to support the channel, hit that join button. Alright. So I know most people will come here and yell that Sony has outsold Xbox and this is a moot point. But to be honest, I don't think those people are paying attention to the hard facts coming in when it comes to the Xbox and their sales when it comes to Xbox Series X. Because for the first time in a very long time, at least since the launch of the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles, we have Microsoft outselling the PS5 in both North America and Europe. Something that Xbox hasn't done this entire generation, if not last generation. Let's get into the article and see what is being said and what's being reported about both of these consoles. The Xbox Series XS has, for the first time since the console's launch, outsold the PlayStation 5 in both North America and Europe for the month of February. However, global chip shortages are a contributing factor towards the rise of Xbox Series XS sales, outselling the PlayStation 5 too. As reported by WCCF Tech, the Xbox Series XS managed to outsell the PS5 in both North America and Europe in February, a first since the console's launch back in November 2020. Okay. So the first thing I want to get into is the fact that the North America sales has always been close when it comes to Xbox and PlayStation consoles. Even in the Xbox One and PS4 era, Sony might have outsold them consistently, but it wasn't the runaway leader that people always said. Yet in other parts of the world like Europe and Asia and other regions outside of North America, Sony completely dominated the console realm. I mean, we just had an analyst say that the regions Sony dominated Xbox sometimes 10-1 because Microsoft just doesn't have a presence in those regions. Yet right now in February, we are seeing Xbox not only take North America, which they've done multiple times this generation, but they're also taking Europe, which from what I could tell is something they haven't done in a very, very long time. I know most people will look at this report and kind of brush it off, and I understand that wholeheartedly. But let's break down February for a second, because there's a lot of things that have happened in February that should be taken into consideration. The first thing is what the article mentions, which is there's a global chip shortage that has a huge contributing factor towards Xbox outselling the PS5. We all know that the Series S consoles take less material, so you can get more of those consoles out into people's hands. All the while, Sony has tried to flood the market with sales with their disc-based systems, especially since I still haven't seen a digital version of the PS5 come out much at all in the wild. So yes, I understand that the chip shortage is something to consider, yet it's something that also affects Xbox and how many units they can produce, just as much as it does Sony. And Sony even confirmed that the chip shortage contributed to the console sales when the article says this. Sony previously reiterated that due to global chip shortages impacting the manufacturing of the PS5, their new generation consoles would continue to be in short supply for 2022, thanks to the availability of the Xbox Series S in particular, which can be found on most retail store shelves with relative ease compared to the Xbox Series X and PS5. The Xbox Series XS sales were able to surpass PS5 for February. However, it remains to be seen if this trend will continue. The Xbox Series S isn't as powerful as its counterpart, the Xbox Series X, but its general affordability at nearly half the price of the Series X, as well as it being readily available in most retailers, makes it an enticing purchase for buyers looking to get into the new generation. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that the Series S is going to dominate sales for a little while. Phil Spencer and other executives around the industry have said as much since the console was available and announced. It's a powerful piece of hardware for only $300. It allows people to play next generation games at a very, very affordable price. And it's a huge reason why Microsoft has been able to provide more consoles on the market, but also pass Sony in sales. They didn't want to keep the status quo when it comes to consoles. Instead, Microsoft wanted to change things up with the Series S console, and they did just that, and it has been a massive success for Microsoft. With that said, that doesn't mean the console would just automatically sell like crazy for no reason. No, we all know that the main reason consoles sell is because of the games attached to them. And there's one hard fact that people aren't talking about that's surprising about February. Sony has a massive AAA game release in February with Horizon Forbidden West. This was supposedly going to be a massive Game of the Year contender, yet Elden Ring completely outdid the game and has overshadowed pretty much every single game in the industry, including Horizon. Yet that still shows that the game isn't the biggest system seller as people thought it was going to be. Because when a game like that releases, shouldn't it be a lock that the console it's exclusive to will sell like crazy? Especially since Sony doesn't put their games day and date on the PC platform or any other platform other than PlayStation. That to me shows one thing. Xbox's value of Game Pass and being on PC has actually made it easier for people to buy their console because it's far more flexible in how they can play their games. Flexible in the sense that you can play your games any way you want, which is something that the article mentions right here. Pair this with the growing popularity of Xbox Game Pass, and Microsoft seemingly has a winning recipe for now. Additionally, almost all Xbox exclusives will arrive on Game Pass on day one, meaning some consumers might be swayed in Xbox's favor too. For the time being, Microsoft has a chance to make up some ground with Xbox Series XS sales. The PS5 chip shortages will continue for the next few months and likely to the end of the year, again due to the global pandemic, giving Xbox some opportunity to get their affordable variants out alongside the Xbox Series X. To me, I understand that the chip shortage is a huge factor in these sales, yet I put that chip shortage on Xbox too, so it's almost equal in the lack of materials to make these consoles on both Sony and Microsoft. Yet this spring, we've seen and we know that Xbox doesn't have a big game to release. They don't have an exclusive first-party game coming until the end of this year, much like late last year where Sony didn't release a first-party game for nearly 7 to 8 months. Microsoft is in that slump right now, yet they're still outselling the PS5 even after Sony released one of their biggest games of the generation in Horizon Forbidden West. That's something most people aren't talking about, and I feel we should be talking about that, because for the longest time I was told that console exclusives were the main selling factor for a console, and you need those to establish your console into the fan base, when in reality, a third-party game in Elden Ring completely took over the gaming industry and has dominated both the Xbox and PlayStation platforms, not to mention the PC platforms. So while exclusives are amazing and we need those, they aren't doing themselves any favors if they're locked down on one single piece of plastic. It's why what Xbox is doing with their first-party games coming to PC and the console and the cloud is the best way to handle your games. Get it into more people's hands so they can maximize the exposure your game gets. That's something that Sony is learning the hard way. Let's face it, Horizon Forbidden West should have been a massive game that released, and it should have dominated the gaming market. Yet since it wasn't available on so many other platforms, PC being the main one, it might have hurt the hype surrounding the game, because instead it was only about one small fan base in a gaming community. Yet Elden Ring sells 12 million units and is dominating every single gaming platform because it reached far more people and more people were able to talk about it, which might have hurt the PS5 sales because people figured they could wait for the PS5 and Horizon because there wasn't a lot of hype surrounding the game. And I know it sounds like I'm a fanboy, and I know most people will attack me for this, and that's fine. But the reality is, I want every good game to succeed, and I want games to go into as many gamers' hands as possible. That's what Horizon deserves. And if these console sales are indication of anything, it's that Sony needs to expand their reach on gamers. I know they dominate regions and they have a brand name, which is great, and most people understand what PlayStation is. But gaming is changing, and they need to adjust their strategy accordingly. Bring games everywhere, so you aren't reliant on a single console and a single fan base. Let's hope they follow Xbox so we can start to see their games have even more success, much like Xbox has been doing with their games for years now, especially since Horizon, Halo, and a bunch of other games they brought out last year reached more gamers, had bigger launches, and have seen far more success than Xbox has ever seen. Maybe expanding your ecosystem is the right thing to do, and maybe your console sales might actually go up because of it. But enough of what I think about all this, tell me what you think. Are you surprised Xbox outsold the PS5 in so many regions? When's the last time Xbox won Europe and North America at the same time? What other regions does Xbox need to expand in if they want to actually compete? Will this trend continue as the generation goes on? Do you think Xbox sold this much because of Game Pass? Was Horizon Forbidden West hurt by only being on one console? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button to support us out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, you guessed it, let's talk about it. Elden Ring, still playing it. I just beat the Volcano Manor. I'm having a lot of fun there. There's a bunch of bosses in that manor. I love going into legacy dungeons, which are these big castles or these big areas you can explore for hours. I love going in there, taking out the bosses, finding out little secrets in there. There's all these secret passages you could go through. There's so much in that game. It's kind of insane. I'm loving every second I'm in this game. I'm having so much fun. I'm having a shield and a sword right now, taking things on, exploring the world, and I'm about to go into the capital, which is this massive area that has so much content in it. It's going to be kind of overwhelming, but I'm looking forward to it. I'll be jumping into that all week, probably the weekend, and into next week as we get ready for other games to come out, which I'm also excited for too. But right now, Elden Ring has me completely. I'm going to be in that game for pretty much the foreseeable future. But let me know what you're playing. Are you waiting for Tiny Tina's Adventure? Are you waiting for some other game to come out? Or are you playing something different on your PC, your PS5, or your Xbox Series X? Let me know down below, because that's what we're here for. This is Talk Games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.